Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH The Flame Emperor Part 56 based on novel. So let's start. The sword is coming. After finishing speaking, the figure in the terrifying flame armor in the sky raised one hand high, and then the whole body was instantly set ablaze by milky white flames. Immediately, in Xiao Yan's hand, an ancient sword engraved with mysterious ancient runes also appeared in his hand. As soon as the ancient sword came out, the evil in the blood-colored vortex also suddenly opened his eyes, and then looked at Xiao Yan, who was wearing fire armor with disbelief. This extremely pure power of purification is... How is that possible? Yin Xie couldn't help but said. At this time, the evil had already shrunk in the blood-colored vortex. After all, he had just broken through the seal and was joined by these humans again, and the ghost energy in his body was very weak. It was only when Xiao Yang and Xiao Yi were possessed that Yin Xie felt an extremely terrifying aura coming from the ancient sword. Although I don't know what method you used to forcibly increase to the strength of the 7-star Do Emperor, but if you think about it, it will have a great impact on your future. Pretend to be a ghost. Do you think this emperor will be afraid of you as a human being of the 7-star fighting emperor? A voice full of disdain also appeared in the blood-colored whirlpool. It's just that since the twin ghost emperors can become ghost emperors, their suspicious and cautious personality also exudes an extremely evil aura that surrounds the blood-colored vortex. Although Xie Yin was not afraid of Xiao Yang's attack, the attack of a 7-star Do Emperor powerhouse was not enough to break the defense of this blood-colored vortex. Boom boom boom. The terrifying milky white flame penetrated from Xiao Yang's body and limbs, and then gathered on the top of Xiao Yang's head. At this time, Xiao Yang held the milky white ancient sword in both hands, and a strong wave formed. Although this attack is powerful, the whirlpool against this ghost skill is also. Xiao Yi's voice also appeared in Xiao Yang's mind. I know. Xiao Yang also said with a smile, and the next moment, almost all the soul power in his body suddenly emerged, and he walked away from the palm of his hand. In the palm of his hand, an extremely delicate lotus seed was also hidden by Xiao Yang. This? Sure enough, it's a good idea. Xiao Yi praised Xiao Yang's actions when she saw Xiao Yang's actions. What is this kid doing? Xiao Yang mobilized his huge soul power and naturally did not escape Yin Xie's perception, but Yin Xie did not find the lotus seeds condensed by Xiao Yang. In the sky at this time, it is already very clear. The blood-colored vortex contains extremely terrifying ghost aura and some blood aura, and the evil yin absorbs power in it to restore its own strength. On the other side, Mu Yingying Tianhua Sacred Tiger 9 Soul Monument and Chang Yu also stopped their unnecessary struggles, and then looked at Xiao Yang wearing fire armor in the sky. The Do Qi in Tianhua Xinghu and Mu Yingying was only half as much, while the Do Qi in Chang Yu and Juhun Monument was even more exhausted at this time. This kid actually has something like a fire elf on his body. Chang Yu couldn't think of it either. This kid has a lot of secrets. Let's not talk about the rarity of this fire elf. Judging from the strength of the fire elf just now, it must be an existence that is comparable to the human 7-star fighting emperor. And that Xiao Yang can make this person willingly call him big brother. This Xiao Yang's personality should be quite convincing. Chang Yu also said slowly. But what is Xiao Yang doing? The 9 Souls tablet laughed, and then there was a hint of doubt in his eyes. This fire elf can actually possess Xiao Yang. After Xiao Yi rushed directly into Xiao Yang's body, an extremely terrifying aura was exuded. This is something that has never happened before. The 9 Soul Steely also stared at Xiao Yang, who was wearing fire armor, in front of him, and then said solemnly. It really didn't happen. But that doesn't mean there is no such possibility. Chang Yu laughed at this moment. It seems that we have to find some way to pull this Xiao Yang into our burning incense pavilion. After all, this talent and courage can also be ranked in the top 10 among super sects like us. The sectarian competition at that time will definitely be. Chang Yu also quickly calculated in his heart. Is this Xiao Yang still a human? Mu Yingying also moved her beautiful eyes slightly, and was obviously moved by Xiao Yang's sudden surge of power. Although Mu Yingying asked herself that her strength was at the peak of the 4-star Do Emperor, she did not dare to do so. To deal with the evil spirits rashly, after all, he is also a real ghost emperor after all. This sudden surge in strength was not what moved Mu Yingying the most, but what puzzled Mu Yingying the most was the most terrifying and delicate lotus seed in Xiao Yang's hands holding the milky white, ancient sword. I don't know why, but Mu Yingying has a vague guess. Even if Xiao Yang, whose strength has reached the level of the 7-star Do Emperor, is wearing fire armor and holding an ancient sword full of purification power, the attack he launches cannot destroy the edge of the blood-colored vortex of the ghost skill cast by the evil spirits. But Xiao Yang's hand is extremely beautiful. The power contained in the lotus seeds is countless times stronger than Xiao Yang's ancient sword. Is this Xiao Yang trying to feign an attack with a milky white ancient sword to cover up the power of the lotus seed, and he will kill him instantly? The heavenly fire sacred tiger on the side also said with some doubts. Although the power in Xiao Yang's body is now filled with the purest fighting qi of the fire elf Xiao Yi, Zhu Hunbei and Chang Yu, who have just appeared, and they have reached the level of the 7-star fighting emperor, the heavenly fire sacred tiger also knows that ghost skill. The firmness of the blood-colored vortex. But the power of the lotus seeds in Xiao Yang's hands is really not small. Even though it's so far apart, I can still feel an aura of destruction. If it were me, there should only be one end. Tianhuoxing who also muttered. Many people on the ground opened their eyes one after another, and then looked around in confusion. They are clearly still in this infernal corpse forest, where they are still in the looting competition. How come they are here? What happened to these thick ghosts and the slightly weird moon in the sky? There are countless questions in everyone's mind. Even in the face of Wu Jiang's inquiries, they couldn't answer them. They just remembered that when they saw the darkness in front of them, they passed out. I was at a loss, and looked up at the two extremely terrifying forces in the sky at almost the same time. One is the black ghost aura with only swirls mixed with blood, and the other is the flame aura with the extremely pure purification power of the fire spirit. Which one is stronger and the weaker? Xiao Yang seems to be trying his best to hide something. Mu Feng, who was on the ground, was using almost all of his vindictive energy, but fortunately, with the recovery pill given by Xiao Yang, he felt much better. Mu Feng discovered Xiao Yang's actions when Xiao Yang mobilized his enormous soul power. Could it be? Mu Feng also shrank his pupils tightly, then looked at Luo Guang and the others on the ground. He shouted, "Everyone, give me your power. Quick!" When Luo Guang and Qiao Hunyao heard the words, they didn't hesitate. The next moment, one after another terrifying power also spread into Mu Feng's body. Then Mu Feng's heart also moved slightly, and a mysterious blue light instantly covered his body, and then a terrifying force was activated, raising the long sword in his hand and heading towards the blood-colored vortex. It's a little strange that Mu Feng, who has always used a wooden sword, replaced the sword in his hand with a silver sword. On the silver sword body, an aura similar to that of the ghost world suddenly appeared. There seems to be something in the palm of this human kid. The evil spirit in the blood-colored vortex also seemed to have discovered something. The silver long sword in Mu Feng's hand brought a monstrous light to the sky, and then the speed was also increased to the extreme. It rose from the ground and went towards the blood-colored vortex. "You must catch up," Mu Feng murmured, and Mufeng also found that the blood-colored vortex seemed to be about to become completely dark. Moreover, the evil spirits in the blood-colored vortex also seemed to have discovered that something was wrong with Xiao Yang. This human kid seems to have something in the palm of his hand. There seems to be something familiar to me. Yin Xie also said coldly, but what Yin Xie couldn't figure out was that Xiao Yang's strength was only in the early stage of the 4-star Do Di. The skyrocketed to the level of the 7-star Do Emperor, but this does not change the fact of failure. In the final analysis, these humans are too pretentious, thinking that with the strength of these few people, they can suppress themselves again. I paid a very heavy price for this seal. It's time to change. Although it's still a little short of absorbing these powers perfectly, let's deal with this human first. Let the last beliefs of these human beings be shattered, showing expressions of despair and horror. Yin Xie finished speaking without hesitation. In the black and red vortex, an extremely evil ghost was slowly taking shape. Damn it! Xiaoyi, the recharging time of this ancient sword of purification is too long. Xiao Yang also pondered. Obviously, the evil spirits at this time also found something wrong, and did not intend to delay the time. In this case, if this ancient purification sword, if the sword cannot break the edge of the evil blood-colored vortex, then the power of the Lotus of Annihilation will be greatly reduced. This is their last chance. Therefore, Xiao Yang did not dare to be careless. Don't worry, leave the rest to me. Mu Yingyingbei bit her lips and said in a silver bell-like voice. Don't fight, I still need a minute. Xiao Yang also knew that this was not the time to be hypocritical, so he also cared. Yeah. Mu Yingying also responded softly, and then she didn't stop, her whole body was pushed to the limit, facing the ghost in the blood-colored vortex. Mu Yingying also knew that Xiao Yang's attack was a little short of time, and he couldn't be affected by this ghost, otherwise their chance for the last blow would also be lost. Tianhua Sacred Tiger also knew the seriousness of the matter, and did not start with Mu Yingying, and guarded Xiao Yang. At this time, Xiao Yang was full of strength, and immediately guarded it to prevent any mistakes. Mu Yingying turned into an azure flame, and headed towards the ghost in the blood-colored vortex. At the same time, Mu Feng also turned into a mysterious blue light, heading towards the ghost in the blood-colored vortex. Yin Xie also seemed to have discovered these two breaths, but he didn't take it to heart. After all, a 4-star Do Emperor early stage and a human at the peak of the 4-star Do Emperor were not enough for him to take it seriously. But the flame on this woman. It seems to be a bit like a holy flame. Yin Xie also looked at the blue flames on Mu Yingying's body, causing the countless pitch-black ghosts around her to disperse, and she also had doubts. Forget it, let's deal with this human boy first, otherwise the power of purification in his body will restrain me quite a bit. Faithful servant of the ghost world, destroy the enemy in front of me. The deep voice also sounded from the evil mouth, and then a place outside the blood-colored vortex twisted quite strangely, and countless ghost chi also gathered crazily. Go away, as if something terrifying is about to be born. It is said that every ghost emperor has a special mount. The 9-soul Steely also remembered something. Come out. As the sinister and eerie voice sounded, a certain space in the blood-colored vortex shook violently. Immediately, countless pitch-black ghosts gathered crazily, and a pitch-black arm, with a size of dozens of meters surrounded by ghosts, also emerged from the wriggling space. Just one arm has a length of several tens of meters, and its volume can be imagined. The terrifying power caused the entire blood-colored vortex to vibrate slightly. At the same time, Mu Feng also came to the sky, and then closed his eyes slightly. His face was solemn, and he quickly muttered, Yin and Yang, 5 elements, Qianquan and 8 trigrams. Destroy the evil. After Mu Feng finished speaking, an extremely terrifying force also appeared on him, but with the appearance of this force, Mu Feng's body also slumped. Obviously, the price of this blow was quite high, and then Mu Feng no longer hesitated, with a sky-high blue light, facing the huge arm in the blood-colored vortex. Boom boom boom. Mu Feng's attack came in an instant, and at the same time, the evil spirits in the blood-colored vortex also widened their eyes, and the clothes looked unbelievable. How can it be? The teleportation space was actually destroyed. Yin Xie's pupils shrank tightly, and then he felt that the space within the edge of the blood-colored vortex suddenly lost contact with him. Human. How can this kid have such terrifying power? Yin Xie also discovered something was wrong with Mu Feng. A mere 4-star Do Emperor level human could actually interrupt his own teleportation space. This is unheard of. Cough cough. Xiao Yang, I'll leave the rest to you. Mu Feng tried his best to launch an attack, and then he fell down from the blood-colored vortex in the sky. As if the blow just now exhausted all his strength. This kid actually has the yin-yang bagua cultivation technique. The 9-soul Steely was also extremely surprised. This kid is a bit amazing. Chan Yu also discovered that since Mu Feng's attack, the strange space in the vortex used by Yin Xie to transport his mount seems to have lost contact with Yin Xie, the terrifying mount. It also stopped appearing, and was cut off by Mu Feng. This yin-yang bagua cultivation technique is the most powerful nemesis to restrain the ghosts in the ghost realm other than the 20 evil soldiers in the ghost realm. I didn't expect this kid to have such an accomplished level of yin-yang gossip exercises. Yu reading, the 9-soul Steely also said with admiration. At this time, Mu Feng, who fell from a distance, also used up all his strength, and then fell straight like a meteorite. You did a good job, leave the rest to Xiao Yang. Yu also quickly took over Mu Feng, and gave some of the recovery medicinal pills to Mu Feng, and then stared at the sky. Fighting. At this time, the connection between the strange space on the edge of the blood-colored vortex and the evil spirits had already been destroyed by Mu Feng, but the arm that was several tens of meters long appeared in everyone's sight. A dark arm of several dozen meters slowly fell out of the strange space, and the arm was full of evil aura. Mu Yingying bit her lips slightly, her beautiful eyes slightly wrinkled, her eyes fixed on the arm, because Mu Yingying felt an evil aura from it. Go. Mu Yingying raised her jade hand slightly, and an azure flame also moved towards the pitch-black arm. The azure blue flame just touched the pitch-black arm, and immediately gave off a terrifying confrontation. It's time. Purify the ancient sword. Elsewhere in the sky, the pupils of a man in fire armor suddenly opened, and the strength of a peak 7-star Do Emperor mixed with an extremely strong purifying power filled the sky. This power is really terrifying. It's a pity that it's not worth mentioning in front of me. Yin Xie also noticed that Xiao Yang's pupils suddenly opened, and the strength of the peak of the 7-star Do Di was fully displayed. But Yin Xie did not panic. After all, as the existence of one of the best twin ghost emperors in the ghost world, Yin Xie also has the confidence to belong to him, and he also knows that Xiao Yang, the sudden strength of the 7-star Do Emperor, is only a passing glimpse. That's it. However, although Yin Xie is not afraid, his current strength has not returned to the peak, so he did not despise him at all. He was inside the blood-colored vortex, and then his body suddenly swelled. Then, above the edge of the blood-colored vortex, a terrifying ghost energy suddenly appeared, staring at Xiao Yang aggressively. This power is a great tonic, but the power of purification is too troublesome, but it is extremely delicious for me now. Yin Xie also murmured with a smile. Purge. Xiao Yang shouted loudly, and then tightly clasped the ancient milky white sword in his hands. The next moment, his pupils shrank tightly, and the ancient milky white sword in his hands suddenly slashed towards the blood-colored vortex. The terrifying milky white, ancient sword exudes a milky white flame sword glow of hundreds of meters, whizzing away at the blood-colored vortex. Tiny. Yin Xie also said disdainfully. Hundreds of feet of milky white flame sword glow emanated from the purification ancient sword, and then roared towards the blood-colored vortex. But it was strange that the 100 feet of sword glow did not bring any fluctuations in the space, as if the most peaceful swordmans in general. Boom boom boom. In the blood-colored vortex, the handprints in Yin Xie's hands quickly changed, and then the next moment, a ghostly aura appeared on the edge of the blood-colored vortex. It is also with the momentum that is like a broken bamboo, and goes away against the milky white sword glow. One white, one black and two forces approached rapidly, and the next moment was a violent collision. Bang bang bang. The terrifying explosion also spread out in circles and circles. The milky white sword glow and the evil rays of light composed of ghosts are viciously intertwined. The moment the two forces of completely different nature touch each other, a monstrous explosion erupts. The two just contacted, and they were deadlocked for a while. I don't know why. The pitch-black, ghostly energy was defeated by the milky white flames. Moreover, Xiao Yan's attack not only contained extremely terrifying high temperature, but also it contains a terrifying power of purification. This evil is really bold. Xiao Yan also laughed at this time, because Xiao Yan vaguely discovered that a large part of the attacks that had been launched were swallowed by the blood-colored vortex. However, Xiao Yan's expression did not change in the slightest. After all, this ancient purifying sword is not a real killer. This purifying power is only to attract the attention of evil spirits. The power of purification is the restraint of the evil and gloomy atmosphere of ghosts in the ghost world, so there is also this scene. The next moment, the stalemate between the two forces also came to an end, as if the milky white flame sword light had won an overwhelming victory. With the retreat of the ghost chi, the size of the blood-colored vortex also shrank from a few dozen meters to a range of several meters. Seeing this, Mu Yingying on the side also looked at Xiao Yang with some relief, and found that Xiao Yang's blue veins burst out at this time, and then he controlled the milky white ancient sword in his hand, and the steady stream of sword light also evaporated, and then without exception, are heavily attacked into the vortex. Moreover, with the attack of Xiao Yang's milky white flame sword glow, the extremely eerie ghost energy in the blood-colored vortex was also slowly purified, and the volume was extremely reduced. Lord! An arm of several dozen meters surrounded by Mu Yingying's azure flame also made some extremely resentful voices. Bang bang bang. As Xiao Yang's attack continued to increase, his arm full of evil aura also shook suddenly, and then deeply shook Mu Yingying's azure flame surrounded, and then the next moment, he was shocked. Speeding towards Xiao Yang's location. That intention seemed to be to kill Xiao Yang. The moment Mu Yingying was shaken away by the evil arm, her face paled slightly. Obviously, the strength of that mere arm was also very evil and powerful. The next moment the evil arm came to Xiao Yang's side, and then the 5 fingers came together, and an extremely terrifying evil force appeared in an instant. Against the Lord. Death. A few words slowly blurted out from the arm, and as the voice in the arm just fell, an extremely evil force also erupted instantly. The sky-high light also attacked Xiao Yang at a rapid rate. Just as the evil aura was about to attack Xiao Yang, the heavenly fire sacred tiger moved. The terrifying and deep eyes stared at the pitch-black light that attacked Xiao Yang, and the next moment, the pupils shrank tightly, and the space in front of Xiao Yang was frozen. Even the dark light seemed to be frozen, exuding terrifying power, and stayed in the sky like an ice sculpture. Seeing this, the arm full of strange aura was also clever, and didn't stop for too long. The next moment, it flew into the blood-colored vortex. You did a good job. Yin Xie said when he saw the arm, but no one noticed that in the dark space in the blood-colored vortex, there was a group of people who attacked the blood-colored vortex before Xiao Yang. Milky white power is continuously gathering yin evil in the body. Under the continuous attack of Xiao Yang's milky white flame sword light tilde, the edge of the blood-colored vortex continued to emit shocking explosions, and the dark ghost energy on the edge of the blood-colored vortex also dissipated at an extremely fast speed. It's time. Xiao Yang also saw that the ghost energy on the edge of the blood-colored vortex had almost completely dissipated, and also grinned, and then put away the milky white ancient sword in his hand in an instant. Appears instantly. Then the next moment, the space around Xiao Yang's body started to wriggle slightly, and at the same time, the space at the edge of the blood-colored vortex also wriggled in the same way. The next moment, Xiao Yang suddenly disappeared in place, and when he reappeared, he suddenly appeared on the edge of the blood-colored vortex. Twin Ghost Emperor. A great gift for you. Xiao Yang said with a calm expression, then staring at the blood-colored vortex in front of him. When the words fell, the delicate lotus seeds in Xiao Yang's palm also appeared instantly, and then Xiao Yang waved his hands heavily, perfectly overlapping the lotus seeds and the blood-colored vortex. This is. At this time, Yin Xia's face full of smiles was extremely difficult to look at, because he found a familiar smell in this beautiful lotus seed. Shabu. The lotus of silentness just appeared, causing the temperature in the sky to rise suddenly, and the corners of the mouths of everyone on the ground were slightly dry. This Xiao Yang. Are you still human? On the ground, Luo Guang and Qiu Hunyao, who had originally wanted to trouble Xiao Yang, couldn't help but say slightly. Not good. The moment Yin Xia also appeared in Xiao Yang's palm, the delicate lotus seed, he felt an aura full of destruction spontaneously arise. You must know that he is a real twin ghost emperor now. If the ghost energy in his body did not return, then it would not be a problem to fight against a human 8-star Do Emperor powerhouse. It would make such a terrifying powerhouse exude this kind of fear. If so, Xiao Yang's attack is also very terrifying. Seeing the appearance of this terrifying lotus seed, Yin Xia did not know why there seemed to be fear in the bottom of his heart, and then the extremely evil arm around him was directly swallowed by Yin Xia, and then two forces slowly appeared in front of Yin Xia, like something. Boom boom boom. As soon as the lotus of destruction appeared, it attracted everyone's attention. The lotus of silence at this time is quite exquisite, because on the periphery of the lotus of silence, there are two full circles of energy, and one circle is a circle of flames mixed with 23 colors. Although it is small, it contains a lot of energy. Even a 5-star Do-D powerhouse dare not underestimate the energy. The other circle is an invisible force, a bit like the fusion of soul power and spiritual power. This power is the fusion of Xiao Yang's restraint of ghosts, and the destructive power of the lotus of silence, and the mysterious power of the soul-devouring talisman are in the innermost layer. And only Xiao Yang knows that the innermost layer of this lotus of annihilation has absorbed the power of a lot of soul-devouring talismans. Soul-devouring talismans are the 12 evil soldiers of the ghost world, and they have a fatal nemesis for these twin ghost emperors. How can there be the aura of Brother Yang Kai in this Xiao Yang? The most intuitive feeling is Mu Yingying, but at this moment Mu Yingying fell into contemplation. There are only two results of having an aura. One is it was taken by force, and the other was given by others. Obviously, Mu Yingying did not think that Xiao Yang would have the second possibility. Xiao Yang, if you do anything too much to Brother Yang Kai, I will try my best to kill you. A wei oath also sounded in Mu Yingying's heart. Damn human. Yin Xia also scolded, and then had to stop absorbing Xiao Yang's original power of purification, and the power of ghost energy in the blood-colored vortex, to replenish himself, and the two powers in his body were also budding, waiting to be released soon. Yin Xie's idea was to use Xiao Yang's huge purification power just now, and then return to his peak state. It is not difficult to say, as long as the power of the two can be transformed to a certain extent. But what Yin Xie didn't realize was that this terrifying attack of purification power was not Xiao Yang's trump card. When the Lotus of Annihilation slammed heavily on the vortex, Yin Xie felt a wave of destruction. However, when Xiao Yang attacked the Lotus of Annihilation on top of the blood-colored vortex, his aura also weakened, and he regained his initial strength of the 4-star Do Emperor. Although Xiao Yang was quite pleased with the sudden surge in the strength of the 7-star Do Emperor just now, Xiao Yang also knew that he still had to walk his own way, and Xiao Yang still understood the reason that he couldn't make a big fat man with one mouthful. With the release of Xiao Yang's trump card, Xiao Yang also fled from the edge of the blood-colored vortex in an instant, because Xiao Yang knew that the improved Lotus of Annihilation and the soul-devouring charm of the evil soldiers of the Ghost Realm was injected, and its power was undoubtedly stronger than before. Is more than a little bit powerful. Boom boom boom. Just as the terrifying flames of annihilation touched the edge of the blood-colored vortex, a destructive force erupted from the sky. First, the outermost layer of the Lotus of Silence, 23 colors of flame power forcibly destroyed the edge of the blood-colored vortex, revealing a gap leading to the blood-colored vortex. Afterwards, the Lotus of Annihilation also entered viciously through the gap, and then in the dark space within the blood-colored vortex, a white-clothed woman with evil spirits and 2 forces appeared. The blood vortex was actually broken. Chang Yu was also excited. As long as the outermost defense was broken, then they also had hope. What kind of power is this? Yin Xie also said in a deep voice. Obviously he did not expect that Xiao Yang's attack could actually destroy the ghost skills he displayed, which made Yin Xie a little unbelievable. Forget it, although I don't know what method you used, it's all over. Yin Xie also looked at Xiao Yang and said slowly, then his aura suddenly soared, and the ghost energy in his body also recovered 90%. Immediately, a terrifying ghost chi burst out, and the 2 forces also emerged instantly, and then transformed into a suit of black armor on the body of the twin Ghost Emperor Inxie. At the same time, the Yibing Judao slowly appeared in Yin Xie's hands. Ghost Emperor Armor, Ghost Sword. The face of the 9 Souls Monument also became extremely ugly. Damn it! I thought that the Ghost Emperor's armor and the Ghost Sword were also lost after sealing the evil spirits, but I didn't expect them to be hidden by the evil spirits. The 9 Soul Steely also said solemnly. No one knows the power of this Ghost Emperor armor and Ghost Sword better than himself. Back then, thousands of years ago, the twin Ghost Emperors relied on the strength of their powerful 7th-grade Ghost Emperors, and with the help of the Ghost Emperor armor and the Ghost Sword, they caused a storm in Xian Santian. And now, with the strength of the twin Ghost Emperors, after adding the Ghost Emperor armor and the Ghost Sword, I am afraid that even the 9-star Fighting Emperor has a burst of power, not to mention the strength of Xiao Yang, the 7-star Fighting Emperor. Boy, I have to admit that your mere 4-star Do Emperor's strength is capable of emitting a power that terrifies me, but in this world where strength is paramount, when you meet me, you are still a little tender. Go to with remorse. The terrifying laughter also emanated from Yin Xie tilde ghost slash. Yin Xie's white-clothed body looks dark and solid against the backdrop of the Ghost Emperor's armor, and the big knife in the jade hand is tightly gripped, and then a terrifying aura emerges instantly. Just as the Lotus of Annihilation entered the blood-colored vortex, the evil voice sounded slightly, followed by an extremely terrifying black sword light of hundreds of meters, and a majestic voice also appeared in the sky. In the vortex, Xiao Yang was far away, but at this time the Lotus of Silentness was still under Xiao Yang's control, and it also stood slightly in the gap on the edge of the blood-colored vortex. A jet-black sword light instantly emerged from the blood-colored vortex, and then headed towards a small gap in the blood-colored vortex. Where is the small gap in the blood-colored vortex? There seems to be an extremely hot energy coming fast. With that appearance, it looks like a rather delicate lotus seed is slowly waiting to be released. Go. Seeing that the terrifying attack was approaching, Xiao Yan also understood that this was his last blow, and immediately gave all the remaining fighting energy in his body to the Lotus of Annihilation. A pitch-black sword light of 100 feet came from the depths of the blood-colored vortex, and a delicate lotus seed was rapidly approaching at the gap on the edge of the blood-colored vortex. Once the two approached, there would be a monstrous explosion. Success or failure is here. This video will end here.